Good afternoon. My name is Diego Arias, and I will share with you the portfolio of future projects for NextEra Energy Resources. In the first presentation, 5 requirements were presented for the future's portfolio. First, continue exploring proven technologies. The business of electric utilities is very risk-adverse. Any future development needs to be based on technologies that are considered stable and technically proven. Second, continue moving towards a mix of low-carbon energy sources, such as wind and solar, while moving away from carbon-intensive plants, such as those running on oil and coal. Third, develop strategic partnerships in critical areas that may be too large or too risky to attack alone. Fourth, being a business in which the end user only worries for having electricity when needed, it is important to continue working towards a value proposition based on operational excellence. Finally, because the public interest on low-carbon sources is important for defining the legislation in which the utilities work, the last requirement is to develop programs to get closer to the end user. As it will be clear in the next slides, it is required that the portfolio of future projects creates a picture of a balanced portfolio. Therefore, we need a definition for what balance means. 4 elements are criteria for balance. First, a presence in all of the geographic markets in the United States. Second, a time frame of projects of near, mid, and long term. Third, dispatchability, or the capability of producing electricity at any time of the day. We want projects that range from non-dispatchable to fully dispatchable. And fourth, projects that reflect creation, operations, and destruction activities. The portfolio of future projects of NextEra Energy Resources is based on the desire to develop a mix of renewable energy sources. As it will be seen later, the pursuit of a mix of renewable energies allows to achieve a balanced portfolio based on market presence, time frame, dispatchability, and type of activities. This is a map of the portfolio of current project generation stations owned by NextEra Energy Resources. As you can see, NextEra Energy Resources has a presence in several states in the United States. Although it has a mixture of energy sources, the portfolio of current projects is heavily based on natural gas, wind, and nuclear energy. This represents a large potential for expanding to other states and other energy sources. In order to develop a portfolio of projects based on different renewable energy sources, it is necessary to take into account the availability of those resources. This map shows the availability of high wind regions in the United States. It should be no surprise that the wind projects of NextEra Energy Resources are located in the areas of high wind. This second map shows the availability of solar radiation in the United States. It shows that there is a large potential for solar energy projects in the Southwest. Finally, this third map shows the availability of biomass resources, which could be used for producing biofuels. These 3 maps are examples of how different regions in the United States have different renewable energy sources available. The portfolio of future projects for NextEra Energy Resources is based on a mix of renewable energy sources. By developing a mix of wind, solar, and biofuels, it is possible to develop a balanced portfolio that covers different markets and different maturity levels. For example, wind is an intermittent resource where most of the resources are found in the Midwest. It can also be considered a mature technology. Solar, on the other hand, is also intermittent, but with energy storage it can be dispatchable. The resources are located in the Southwest, and it is a technology that is becoming more mature. And biofuels are dispatchable. They are present in the Midwest and in the West Coast, and they can be considered a new technology. After all of the previous considerations, we get to the list of future projects for NextEra Energy Resources. First, we have the projects in construction and operational areas. Following the objective of being a leader on renewable energy sources, the first projects are based on the investing those activities that use carbon-intensive sources. It is time to sell oil and coal power plants. The money obtained by the sale of these plants will provide the financial resources to invest in the next projects. Second, in the operational activities, it is important to continue developing a reliable service to the end user. The second project is to reduce programmed and unscheduled outages in the natural gas and wind turbines. The measurable goal of this project is to achieve a 98% availability of these plants. This means that over the year, only 2% of the operational time the plants will be down. The third project aims towards operational activities. It is important that NextEra builds its knowledge on new technologies. In this case, it is proposed that NextEra purchases projects of utility-scale photovoltaic solar power plants in the order of 30 megawatts. The benefit of these activities is that by purchasing existing plants, NextEra does not need to undertake the complicated first part of the projects. For example, siting and permitting, which can be very lengthy processes. This is the route that NextEra took in order to become a leader in wind energy, purchasing existing projects. The rest of the projects can be considered as creative future projects. The fourth project consists of developing new solar energy projects. First, after taking advantage of the operational learning of the purchase of photovoltaic solar power plants, it is important that NextEra takes the next step of building PV projects. By doing this, NextEra can tap into the additional margins of being developer and operator of the projects. A larger project, such as building a concentrating solar power plant of 250 megawatts, is the next step towards learning about a technology that can bring dispatchability of renewable energy sources. This is also an area in which NextEra can take advantage of additional margins during construction and operation of the project. In order to have a pipeline of future projects, it is important that NextEra invest in biofuels. As the fifth project, NextEra will develop a demonstration plant on biofuels. NextEra should partner with universities and external labs on the development of electricity storage. As the penetration of renewable energy increases in the American electricity network, a stabilizing technology will be needed. As NextEra is not capable of doing fundamental research, it must collaborate with research labs on the technologies that are 10 years away. Finally, the development of a new network of transmission lines is required for the sustainable growth of renewable energy sources. But this is a project too large for a single company to undertake. The seventh project consists of establishing a consortium or group of companies that can lobby and organize resources towards the development of a new network of transmission lines for all kinds of renewable energy sources. From the list of projects, the operational and creative projects were studied using a scorecard with three main elements. The first element, in the vertical axis, is the dispatchability of the energy source. This means the possibility of delivering electricity at any time during the day. A low score means that it is not possible to deliver electricity at will. For example, photovoltaics without batteries cannot deliver electricity when the sun is not shining. On the other hand, nuclear energy can produce electricity at any time of the day. The second element, in the horizontal axis, is the maturity of the technology. Wind projects score high in this axis, but energy storage scores low as it is a new technology. The third category in the scorecard is the market size, indicated by the size of the bubbles that represent each project. This chart represents the evaluation of the projects in the portfolio. Solar photovoltaics and wind projects are mature technologies with high market size, but low dispatchability. Solar thermal is in an intermediate area of maturity and dispatchability. More infant projects are energy storage, new transmission lines, and biofuels. It is expected that the activities on the project portfolio will help bring some technologies to more mature stages. The expected picture of the portfolio in 2015 will see how projects move to the right on the maturity level and their market size changes. This trend should continue towards 2020. With this, I conclude the presentation of the future projects for NextEra Energy Resources. Thank you very much.